Your network hosts are the Stauffer Chemical Company, Country Companies Insurance, and the nearly 1,000 Country Companies agents in the state of Illinois, and DeKalb Ag Research, and the more than 750 local DeKalb dealers supplying Illinois farmers with quality hybrid seed.
Welcome to the 1981 Illinois High School Station Girls Class A Volleyball Tournament. Hello, I'm Ann Penstone, and with me is Bonnie Beach to bring you all the action here in Springfield, Illinois. Bonnie, this team, we've got Immaculate Conception, last year's runner-ups, and we're featuring Mendota. What do you expect to be the determining factors in this game?
I really think the determining factor is going to be the matchup between each team has a big hitter, Jerry Dvorak from Immaculate Conception and Tracy Stroyan from Mendota. I think they're going to be determining factors in how they control one another and how they hit by themselves.
Thank you, Bonnie. It's going to be fun. Look forward to exciting volleyball and the starting lineups right after this message from Country Companies Insurance. We're back at the Prairie Capital Convention Center here in Springfield, Illinois, ready to bring you the Class A State Championship Girls Volleyball game. With me is Bonnie Beach, expert commentator by virtue of her state championship from New Trier. And Bonnie, today we've got Mendota versus Immaculate Conception, two very fine teams. Immaculate Conception won last evening against Augusta Southeastern and also beat Tolona Unity in their first quarterfinal match. Outstanding game, 3-set, excellent. Mendota got here by virtue of beating Riverton and Freeburg. Can you tell us a little bit about Immaculate Conception, Bonnie?
Well, I think Immaculate Conception has definitely come through the stronger part of the bracket. It may be a telling factor, and then again, Mendota might be a little bit more rested for the match. It's hard to say. Should be a great match.
Now here with today's starting lineup is Julie Boltz.
Compete in this session's second match. For the visiting Spikers of Mendota, to win the match with a record of 28 wins and 1 loss, please meet Coach Renee Gunther. Coach Gunther has a career record of 116 wins and 28 losses for a career of 7 years. The non-starting players for the Spikers are number 22, Barb Stefanich, number 10, Sylvia Holbrook, and number 20, Peg Chisholm. The starting lineup for Mendota is number 33 and captain for the Spikers, Joanne Parks, number 25, Cindy Shawn, number 15, Mary Lauer. Number 41, Mary Kimbry. Number 21, Tracy Stroyan.
She's their big hitter, Ann.
And number 23, Rose Norton.
She's had an outstanding tournament as well.
Yes, she has.
For the home team, the Knights of Immaculate Conception Elmhurst, who enter the match with a record of 37 wins, 4 losses. Please meet Coach Gene Field.
Neither of these coaches is stranger to this tournament.
Coach Field has a career record of 108 wins and 33 losses for a career of 7 years. The non-starting players for the Knights are number 10, Debbie McElroy. Number 12, Katie Lothman. Number 22, Dawn Kessling. Number 24, Margaret Pusick. And number 40, Donna Calignan. Starting for Immaculate Conception is 32, Linda Tully. Number 44, Lisa Delgade. Number 14, Mary Donahue. Captain for the Knights, number 42, Jerry Dvorak.
Jerry Dvorak is a big player to watch from IC.
Number 34, Maureen Dunn. And number 20, Jackie Bricchetto. The floor officials for this match are Sandra Anderson from Arlington Heights, who will serve as referee, and Mary Welton from Arlington Heights, who will serve as umpire.
We'll be back with today's championship match in a minute, but first, one of your network sponsors is DeKalb Ag Research. Back at the Prairie Capital Center, ready to bring you today's championship match featuring the Mendota Spikers and the Immaculate Conception team from Elmhurst of Chicago. Both teams are excellent. Immaculate Conception has been here before. They were the bridesmaid last year. They'd like to take home the championship. Mendota's been here 4 times, but has never been in this match.
It's a very exciting thing for both teams to be back in this match again, and I think one of the things that we want to watch right away is who develops consistency probably the quickest. I think inconsistency has hurt teams in both the A and AA in the state final playoffs here.
Well, Immaculate Conception's been the more consistent team, and Linda Tully to serve first in this match.
Pass is kind of shaky to start with. Nice hit, they generated the offense.
Almost a double hit on that set.
Just about.
Now right there, we've been talking so much during this tournament about the passing problems and the setters having difficulty to initiate the offense.
Right, if the pass isn't right up there to the setter, it's very difficult for her to do anything. Pass is okay on that. Nice dig. Good ball into the setter. There's Jerry Dvorak, and we see her hitting right away. She was a little bit slow on her approach, hit the ball a little bit out of bounds, but there was a touch on the part of Mendota.
Again, Tully to serve, serving for a 3rd point in the match.
A tough pass. They have to just play the ball over with a free ball. No offense generated. A nice pass into the setter. And again, Dvorak hits an ace right through the middle. It's been a beautiful set.
Dvorak is an outstanding hitter, but what's interesting is the setter. It's Mary Donahue. They didn't know she was going to be able to play. They thought she had appendicitis, but she's back tonight.
Just let her out of the hospital. She's done a good job.
Again, those sets are still far off the net, allowing no real hard spikes to go down.
It's Dvorak again.
Double block goes up. Good dig out of the net. Donahue on the set to Dvorak in the middle. She tries a dink this time, picked up.
Once again, Mendota comes back with a dink from Mary Kimry, and IC couldn't pick it up off of the block. It's a good strategy.
It's Joanne Parks to serve. Mendota's first chance to score.
A free ball.
Interesting that both teams had trouble on the first service reception.
Yes, it is. I think probably that's an indication that both teams are playing very tight right now.
And a net violation on Mendota. It'll be a side out to Immaculate Conception. Of course, we might remind you that in volleyball you can only score when you are serving.
That's right. So it makes that serve very, very important.
This is Mary Donahue to serve.
It's a little bit better pass than they've been getting.
I'm sorry, that's Delgade.
4 hits. One thing that we might point out to the fans at this time is that very often if the ball is hit into the net and there is no touch on the block, they try to pick it up again and hit it. That is 4 hits. The ball never really passed over the net.
But a blocker who does initiate the block may also dig it out of the net.
That's right.
And that counts as only 1 hit, correct?
That's correct.
Nice pickup on
Dvorak's part. Good dig. Hit by Maureen Dunn. They weren't able to bring the ball back up. I think that's the first time they've used any other hitter other than Dvorak.
And it's the first time they've set to the left side. But there's point by Delgade. That's number 5. They lead 5-0, and she's serving again.
Nice serve again. Very difficult to pass. The official called a push, and it truly was. She took the ball from behind her head and pushed it over the net.
Contact must be made in front of the shoulders, basically, and come immediately off of the hip, correct?
Right. Whatever it is, it has to be.
There's those line judges.
What a
They've been tremendous.
serve.
All the teams we've noticed in the tournament have been serving on the sides. We've got a timeout for the Mendota. One of your network sponsors is Stauffer Chemical Company.
It's a good serve. It's a nice pass. It's about the first good pass that they've generated. Dvorak with a save. Both teams look like they're a whole lot looser at this point. Timeout was very beneficial. It's Dvorak out of the middle.
Spike is out, side out to Mendota. Lisa Delgade had served 4 straight points. Now let's see what Cindy Shawn can do. Pick up by Tully.
It's a nice pass. Ball is out of bounds. And the point that you were making just before the timeout is that teams have tried to serve down the line and hit down the line. It's been very successful. It's a very difficult place to defense and pass from.
All but one attempted hits by Immaculate Conception have been set to Dvorak.
Yes, they have.
There's our first hit by Stroyan, who's a tremendous athlete. Nice pickup. It's difficult to pick up a spike that hard.
It really is. She really had a nice quick approach through the middle and put the ball down. That'd have to be considered an ace because the ball was passed directly out of bounds.
Passed out of bounds, and we'll have Mary Donahue serving.
Beautiful. That's about their best pass. Hey, there was a touch called on the block on the part of Immaculate Conception. That was probably the best offense that Mendota has generated so far. It's a beautiful pass coming into the setter.
Again, we've got to emphasize that it's crucial that pass be possible to be set so that a spike can be hit off of it.
It really is.
There's that set too far back. Dvorak had to do it on her feet. Point to Mendota. Score is Immaculate Conception 7, Mendota 2, and Cindy Shawn is serving.
Set again goes to Dvorak. Stroyan blocking. Oh, nice. Stroyan pulled right off the net and hit the ball again.
Tried to block Dvorak, but unsuccessfully.
Again, the set to Stroyan.
Oh.
I think that was beautiful. It was an ace hit by Stroyan deep back into the court, and I think what's happening here, Ann, is a matchup between Dvorak and Stroyan.
Couldn't find two finer athletes in this game.
He really couldn't.
Oh, nice serve. Tough pickup. Stroyan takes advantage of it.
By Stroyan. Free ball over the net. And the ball to Stroyan, and she caught him in the deep back corner again.
Caught him in the deep back corner, only to two defensemen back, and they're both tight into the middle.
Really.
Good comeback here by Mendota. They were down 7-0, and they've come quickly back to 7-4 with a serving of Mary Lauer.
Didn't get the ball to the setter that time. Oh, too bad. It had a net violation, and it was either Stroyan or Kimmery, excuse me.
Of course, you can never touch the net with any part of your body during the point. If so, it's a side out to the other team. Served by Dvorak. She moves back in the center back position. Good pickup.
It's going to be a hard ball to save. Turn it into a free ball. Now allows Immaculate Conception to go to work. Oh. Nice hit. It was a really nice hit by Linda Tully, but Stroyan was right there at the net and threw a block up like a brick wall. Down for an ace.
She's a tremendous athlete. Served by Mary Kimmery.
Missed pass over there, and they're going to have to put it back as a free ball.
Momentum has changed a little bit, and it's definitely gone over Mendota right now.
Oh, it definitely has, and I think that Stroyan has been a giant factor in having that happen. Another free ball back to Mendota. Stroyan out of the middle. We had an attempt at a block, but the block never materialized quickly enough, and Stroyan just really nailed the ball from the middle position.
Now, Stroyan, interesting, it starts in the back row, so she doesn't really get any offensive attempts until third rotation.
Maybe that's not such a bad strategy. It lets the team settle down just a little bit before she gets up there.
Saved by Burketto.
Another beautiful block by Stroyan.
She's taking things into her own hands.
Yes, she is. She's very dominant at the net at the moment.
Set by Shawn. A good pickup by Dvorak.
Beautiful dig. Setter has misset the ball over the net. This is really interesting. The setter for IC, Jackie Burketto, misset the ball. It went over the net. Fantastic.
Immaculate Conception's where they just called a timeout with the score. Immaculate Conception 7 and Mendota 6. And one of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance. Scores Immaculate Conception 7, Mendota 6 with Mendota serving. That's Mary Kimmery. And that's a side out. The serve was long, and we'll come back to Immaculate Conception with Mo Dunn serving.
That's exactly, as a coach, what you'd like to have happen, and is to call a timeout and have a service error occur on the other team.
Makes you look like a genius, doesn't it?
Both teams are playing a little bit tentatively, but much looser. Stroyan has been absolutely fantastic. She has really, in about the last 3 or 4 points, she's just done it all up at the net. Now let's see her work in the backcourt.
She's had 4 straight kills and all to the left back position, and definitely no defense against them. Another
Tough
serve.
server, a missed pass. That was a nice save.
It's off on that set. It's going to go out of bounds, side out to Immaculate Conception. They definitely work better with Stroyan in the front row, but she's a very versatile player, can set or play defense as well.
They really do. Both teams now have their big hitters in the backcourt. Dvorak's in the backcourt, as is Stroyan.
Jackie Brichetto to serve.
Oh, almost had a real mental lapse there. Just can't let the ball drop. Beautiful step by Stroyan.
Now they're going to pick the other side.
Stroyan set Joanne Parks, and she really put the ball up and down beautifully for a hitter who was able to ace the ball into the back of the court.
And a little side out. We've got Rose Norton to serve.
It's a
Passing.
nice serve, and it was a passing error on the part of Jackie Brichetto. The ball went into the net, and there's not too much you can do with it.
From 7-0, it is now 7-7 Mendota. Side out, serves out of bounds. Tried to place it a little bit too much.
I think definitely right now Mendota has the momentum.
Well, this would be the perfect position for Immaculate Conception. This is their favorite rotation. This is their starting situation. So there we go,
there they
Ace
are.
Martello.
There they are. It was a beautiful serve. It went right in between the center forward and left forward passer at the feet of the left back.
Those are always tough calls on those double hits.
It's a very tough call, but I think there are very few times when you can actually see it happen, and that was one of them. The ball rolled right up the arms of the passer. Another good serve. Had the ball, was set very far off the net, and Parks really had to come in and cross her body with her arm to even get at the ball.
It's very difficult to hit from that side when you're right-handed.
Yes, it is.
Again, a good pickup and pass, but now we're going to get another free ball. Telly on the pickup. Down here on the set, and hit to Dvorak. Able to pick it up, but out of bounds.
That's right. It's really interesting. Now we have Dvorak in the front court all by herself without Stroyan over there to counterbalance her.
And just as Stroyan was having no difficulty when Dvorak was in the back row, the same thing is happening to Mendota with Dvorak in the front row.
That's right. Set is to Dvorak out of the middle. Oh, what a nice hit. Hit Cindy Shawn right in the shoulders with the ball.
Now we're going to get a timeout to Mendota as Immaculate Conception has been rolling back with 12-7, Immaculate Conception leading. We talked about the difference in the rotations. When Stroyan has been in the front row, she's been devastating. They haven't been able to throw up a block to stop her yet. Why is that?
I think part of the reason is because for a tall girl, she's very quick, and her arm swing is very quick, and she just generates a tremendous amount of force.
We're going to see the serve by Tully. She served 5 in a row on a comeback. Serve reception. Tough pass to handle. And it becomes a free ball. Tully again there to play defense after the serve, set by Donahue, and here's Dvorak in the middle on the hit.
Just really hit the ball very hard and hit Parks in the shoulders, as you can see there. And I think the difference in the two teams, the momentum definitely has changed. When Dvorak's been in the front court without Stroyan to counterbalance her and to block her, Dvorak has been able to put the ball down. And vice versa, Stroyan without Dvorak. Together in the front row, they've managed to really contain one another, to block one another, and to keep the play fairly even.
We haven't seen any double blocks either. Would that be more successful perhaps against these hard hitters?
I would say with two hitters like that, a double block would be much more successful, but we really haven't seen any single-A team that has thrown a double block.
Good pickup by Brichetto, set to Donahue. She's setting Delgade. Right there, that's exactly what Mendota needed. Again, there's that, what you've been talking about. The coach's dream makes them look like a star. They call the timeout, and immediately it's a side out to their team. Joanne Parks to serve. Good reception
Nice
pass.
Oh, yes. It was a nice pass and a good set. Dvorak went in, but as she hit the ball, her fingers just trailed off the top of the net. She's been called for a net foul. Ball will go back.
I think we've got a net foul here, and we're going to get a point on that.
Right.
So we've got 12-8 Immaculate Conception. Served by Parks.
It's a mispass ball, and they're going to have a free ball. Quick hit on the second hit by Shawn. Again, Dvorak out of the middle. This time, This time Dvorak hitting out of the middle. She turned and she cut the ball back to her left and caught Sean high on the chest with the ball.
Lisa Delgado to serve with the score 12-8 Immaculate Conception. Good pick up on the service.
Nice
Sean to
pass
set.
to Sean. Oh, defense was a little shallow on that one. They've given a free ball back to Mendota.
Set by Stroyan. Kimmery on the hit. Long
Nice
point
set
here.
by Stroyan. Yes, it's about the longest point.
It was our first double block that we've seen by either of these two teams, but there was a touch on it, causing it to go out of bounds, so it will be
That's
side
right.
out.
It's a nice hit by Kimmery. She hit right into the block, but gave some pressure with her hand and caused the ball to go upwards.
Good pick up by Telly on the serve by Sean. Again to Dvorak. Caught that ball a little bit behind her head and I wasn't able to bring it down.
Right.
We've got the pass being made. A set coming up and a hit from the rough position. The double block was there. It wasn't real high and the timing was off, and all they got was the top.
It wasn't, and that might be one of the reasons why they're not. Oh, there's a quick ace by Kimmery. She was right there at the net, and Immaculate Conception was down in a defensive position. They knew what was coming, but Kimmery was too fast.
Problem with the pass again.
Missed pass ball and another free ball. Every time you give a team a free ball, it allows them to work so much easier.
Oh, what a pickup
what
on
a
Stroyan.
pickup.
Okay.
And there's something that we might want to comment on. Stroyan came in, we had a blocker coming up to the net. Both the blocker and the hitter contacted the ball at the same time. It's called a held ball, and there is a replay. No point on the play. Mendota still serving.
Block. Nice block by Kimmery on
block.
Dvorak's attempted spike.
Really was.
Every time one team seems to establish momentum, they switch on the other team.
Here we see this again. Dvorak coming in, and she just hit right into the block, and they blocked the ball back into an empty space in the court.
We've got a timeout with Immaculate Conception still alive, 12, still ahead 12-11 by Mendota, but Mendota has the momentum right now. What type of blocking position do you want to have ideally?
Well, what you'd really like to have ideally is to get a little bit of inside position on the hitter so that when the hitter is contacting the ball, you can contact very firmly with your hands and direct the ball back into the hitter's court. Very often a hitter will use a blocker, and if your hands are not firm and turn back into the court, if you don't have good position on them, they'll push the ball and it will go out of bounds, and then it's the blocker's responsibility.
Can a blocker actually tell where the hit is going to go so she can establish a position?
A good blocker, yes, can definitely tell where a hit is going to go. A hitter has to be extremely deceptive with her hand because most of the time in high school ball, she'll have to take an approach to the ball. Either she's approaching straight on, she's going to hit angle, or she's going straight on for line, or coming in at an angle, and she's going to hit cross court. So, yes, the blockers can pretty much tell where the ball is going to go.
What are they looking at? Are they keying on the hand position itself as it comes through? Is there a shoulder position that gives
They
it away?
key on three things. They key on the hitter's initial position, they key on where the setter puts the ball, and then they key on the arm swing.
Sean to serve again. They're only down by 1. Pass is difficult.
Setter tried to dump the ball over the court.
Ricchetto on the pass. Going to have to be a free ball.
Another free ball.
Sean on the set, setting. Here comes Stroyan to the fake in the middle. Nice block by
that was
Dvorak.
nice.
Good pickup.
Dvorak with the soft shot into the middle.
Oh!
Right there. Stroyan tried to put the ball over quickly, and Dvorak was right there for the block.
What a matchup. The two of them against each other in the
Super.
middle.
There's Dvorak. Ball was passed so hard from the backcourt. It was dug so hard from the backcourt. It hit Kimmery in the face and really kind of knocked her into the net.
Excellent point. 1-1 against the two probably best hitters
Beautiful.
on both teams. Got Donahue on the serve.
Nice pass. The set will go to Stroyan on the outside, and she chose to dink the ball. Oh, it was nice. She took an inside dink. She dinked in toward the middle of the court. The off blocker picked up the ball but passed it out of bounds. It was a good choice on Stroyan's part.
In the semifinal match, they were down by quite a bit against Freeburg, and that particular thing allowed them to come back. Right there, the service ace.
Service
by Mary
ace.
Lauer. We've got a tie in this game 1 of the state championship Class A girls volleyball. Taking with 12-12, Immaculate Conception Mendota, with Mendota serving and Mary Lau with the ball.
Good pass. A nice pass. The set will go to Dvorak on the outside. And the ball was touched off on the dig, but it was passed out of bounds.
Even though she was able to get to the ball, it had already gone past the net area, so she was not allowed to pick it up.
That's right. Now we've got Stroyan in the front court all by herself. Dvorak's in the back court.
They go to Kimry, pick up.
Nice hit into the deep back part of the court. A free ball given back to Immaculate Conception. Oh, that was beautiful. That was Linda Tully, and she had an ace. She hit between the outside left position in the middle. Now watch on the replay. She'll go up and she'll just come right to the outside of the middle blocker and put it down into the deep back corner.
Again, those corners.
Oh.
Oh, nice pickup off
Nice
Stroyan.
pickup. Oh, super. Again, that's Linda Tully. Linda is starting to be coming to her own at the net right now. She's really done a super job. Again, that's twice that she's hit away from the block.
She's been silent, but she's establishing herself now while Dvorak's in the back row.
Ball will go on a back set to Stroyan.
Oh.
I think, and that's one of the things that happens is players get tentative. Makes it difficult.
That gives the first game of this match to Immaculate Conception, 15-12. And one of your network sponsors is DeKalb Ag Research. In game one of this state championship match, it was Immaculate Conception 15, Mendota 12. Here's the last point of the match.
Watch now, Stroyan gets a back set and she's real tentative. She goes up after the ball, goes with a two-handed dink and puts the ball right into the net. And I think that's a real problem because Immaculate Conception in the last 3 points was very successful in running its offense. Mendota was very aware of the fact that it was game point, and at that particular point, it's not a place for those who are, you know, frightened. You've got to really take your game and put it to the other team,
No
and
place for the weak
can't
heart,
be
huh?
tentative, right?
Stroyan had played so dominatingly at that point, and on the comeback, they'd been down 7-0, came back tied at 7-7. Again, Immaculate Conception took the momentum, it became 12-7, then all of a sudden it was 12-12. Then Immaculate Conception, they're a very calm team. Their coach, Jean Fields, says that she's most impressed by their poise and their ability to play together. They lost 5 starters off of last year's team that finished second to Quincy Notre Dame. The only one back is Dvorak. She's got a nice compliment to come back with her.
Yes, she certainly does. She's a very dominant player, but in volleyball, you can have a dominant player, but you certainly have to have the supporting cast to go around. They've done some nice passing, some nice defense, good serving on the part of Immaculate Conception, really on the part of both teams.
It'll be interesting to see. Mendota, in their area, has been an outstanding team. They haven't had to come from behind very much. Coach Renee Gunther was a little bit concerned about that because in their semifinal match against Freeburg, they were down quite extensively and they had some difficulty coming back. She wondered what would happen, told them to relax. It worked beautifully. There we see Jean Fields talking to her troops right before they come back on for the second game.
Right. I think the other thing that Renee Gunther of Mendota was very worried about was the fact that many of their matches had gone very quickly and they'd won it on their serving, and they certainly do have good serving, but they're not going to be able to do anything with serving alone here at the state tournament. They found that out and have handled it beautifully.
They've done very well coming back, and they're going to get to start with a serve, which is a big advantage for them. It'll be Cindy Shawn to serve. Of course, Immaculate Conception did win the first game. Volleyball is played in 2 out of 3, best 2 out of 3, 15-point games.
Have to be 2 points ahead. Here we go.
Right to Dvorak. You
Right
bet
to
on that.
Dvorak. Nice cross-court spike into the deep corner, and about the only person who can pick that up is the center back on the defense because it was very, very deep into the court, and we didn't have anybody there.
Linda Tully to serve. She's been an excellent server for them throughout the tournament, able to place it where she wants and get good depth and spin on the ball.
Again, first serve there, they forced Mendota to give a free ball. Ball to Dvorak in the middle, but that was a nice block on the part of Mary Kimry.
Double block thrown up and good reception off of it.
Oh, had a double hit called on Immaculate Conception, and ball goes to Mendota.
Side out, and we've got Mary Lauer to serve. Mendota changed their service reception for this game, and there's Stroyan.
Oh. She just is so quick at the net. You cannot afford to mispass the ball and have it be coming toward the net where she can get a hold of it.
Get a good pickup on serve reception.
There we go into Dvorak. Now we had a double block on the part of Mendota. That's the first time we've seen them do that.
Nice dig by Tully in the backcourt.
Beautiful. free ball given back to Mendota.
They were lucky to get it back at all.
Yeah, they were. Stroyan. The beautiful hit coming out of the middle. The block was late and it wasn't there. I think that's really interesting. Both teams have changed their strategy a little bit, and they're starting to throw double blockers on both Dvorak and Stroyan on the outside.
Apparently feel that that may make the difference and be able to at least pick up the ball after the block.
It really could.
As at this point, neither team has been able to stop either Stroyan or Dvorak.
Short set, and Dvorak had to dink the ball.
Stroyan tried that in the last point of the game and was unsuccessful. At that time, she didn't look tentative.
Right, I didn't mean Dvorak, it was Stroyan, and that was what she wanted to do the last point of the other game.
The block by Mendota's out of bounds. We get a side out to Immaculate Conception. Their first chance for point here.
Nice pass, and the setter has handled the ball. Again, I think Mendota is playing just a little bit tentative.
Now right there, Stroyan was there. It seemed a good timing. How'd she get that ball around her?
Stroyan was there. She didn't have good body position on the block, however. She had to reach for it, and the defense was pushed over to the right side of the court. There was an empty spot. Oh, nice hit on the part of Stroyan. Again, that's a rather difficult ball to hit. It was coming in over her right shoulder, and she was able to jump up and be patient enough for it to get in front of her and then hit down on it.
There's Stroyan exhorting her team to come on. They're up 2-1 in the second match game, and they need it to extend this to a 3-set match.
It's a real court leader.
Double block again.
Double block on the outside.
And it was successful.
Yes, it was.
Good pickup. We're going to get a pass and a hit here. Stroyan.
Nice. Started to see Parks, Joanne Parks, come in on the left side. She came in with a fake. Didn't really carry it through, but it was enough just to hold the blocker there.
Got the set. Got a free ball coming through. Comes the set, the fake by Parks and the hit by Stroyan.
Right out.
Block out of bounds. Kettle made a good attempt at it. There's a timeout to Immaculate Conception with the score Mendota 4, Immaculate Conception 1, and one of your network sponsors is the Cal Bab Research. The second game of this Class H state championship match, we've got Mendota 4 and Immaculate Conception 1. Mendota serving. Nice save there by Kimmery.
It was a beautiful save. We had two players in confusion in the middle of the court.
Kimmery's such a steady player. We don't
Yes,
see
she
her much,
is.
but she does a lot without being noticed.
Oh,
one-on-one.
One-on-one matchup there between Dvorak and Stroyan. Soft shot down the line. That's too bad. Yet Parks had to do a lot of things over there. She had to pick up the ball, and then she went back, and she came into the net and came back and tried to get hitting position, and she just wasn't there.
Service here by Donahue. They're down 1-4. Set by Sean. Stroyan double block again, put up. We're gonna.
You know, I think that double block has got to be making a little bit of a difference because it started to shut down Dvorak just a little bit. It started to shut down Stroyan just a little bit. And I think she looked at that double block and got really her concentration was taken away that time.
Be interested to see if Donahue could set to someone else because they're keying on Dvorak so strongly.
For sure.
Good save by Stroyan going out of the court to pick it up.
Oh, nice hit from Dvorak way back at the 10-foot line. They're going to get a free ball in return.
Dvorak on the pickup. The set to her. And dink. Oh,
definitely. You could really see Dvorak go up that time. She was going to hit the ball. She saw Stroyan throw the block up, and she just pushed the ball to the outside of Stroyan's position, put it over into space.
She adjusted to what was happening to her before. Again, that pass made it impossible for the setter, and it's going to be out of bounds. Almost a line violation on Stroyan anyway. You can't go across that center line, which is 4 inches wide.
Now, I have to say, I really don't think that the fault that time was so much on the part of the pass. The pass was there, but the setter breaking for the net wasn't there and had to try and do something with it.
Mary Donahue continuing to serve, brought them back to a tie score 4-all. Hit over the block.
Oh, nice. Nice move on the part of Joanne Parks. She went up, and it was dink all the way, but she turned her body at the last minute and went over the block and to the line.
Both teams are starting to vary their attack with dinks and spikes going in alternately.
Right. Had an illegal hit called on the serve reception.
That'll be point to Mendota with Stroyan serving. I've
Too
got
bad because Delgade made a nice move for the ball.
very good defensive player, moves well in the backcourt.
Nice pass from Delgade. It's nice to see her come back like that.
Oh.
Beautiful. Pass from Delgade was right on the money, right there to the setter. It was a back set into Dvorak, and she really put the ball away.
So important to come back after an error and be able to put a pass up like that to score a point for your team.
It sure is. It makes all the difference. Oh. Nice hit.
Parks unreturnable. There's a kill.
Really was. She's a little bit slow coming in on her approach, and the block went up a little bit too soon. She's put it right down the middle.
Kill, of course, is an unreturnable hit. It hits the floor.
Had a line violation on the part of Linda Tully as she came in for the hit, and then she came down and crossed the line. You can step on the line, but you can't step over it. Tully with the ball again. Nice hit.
She's the most improved player from Immaculate Conception, according to Coach Dean Field.
She really has done a nice job. Ball goes into the middle of Tully. Now we see a double block in the middle
center
on the part of Mendota.
It's saved by Lauer there on a tough set.
Again, the ball to Tully. A nice hit into the backcourt.
First hit, I think Sean's attempted.
Oh, that's really too bad. That was a mental error on the part of Linda Tully. She was working at the net, blocking. The ball was dug up in the backcourt, and she just really didn't turn around and look at it. There she is. And I just love to see that on the part of the player, and we've seen it happen 2 and 3 times where a player makes an error and comes right back and gives you an ace.
Simply the credit to the caliber of ball that's been playing here in Illinois and with this Class A championship game. It's Maureen Dunn to serve. Joanne Parks all of a sudden is coming alive.
She really is. That was a nice set to Joanne Parks on the outside and the right side of the court, and she just really let go on the ball.
She'll have this chance to serve here. Pick up by Donahue. Again, the set's off. It has to be a free hit.
Oh, too bad. That almost looked like pinball ricochet in there.
Both teams are having a little difficulty when they're able to get their service back. They're unable to score off of it. We're getting a lot of service side outs at this point. No one's able to establish any consistency. Of course, the pressure's on Mendota.
Pressure sure is on Mendota. They've got to come through here. Again, nice hit by Parks into the deep back part of the court. She beat the block, came a little bit to the left of it. Now they have an opportunity to take the ball and run with it again.
Sean to serve. Good pickup.
Nice pass.
Set by Donahue.
Good dig on the part of Lauer. And they've given IHSA a free ball to work with.
Norton's been an excellent defensive player for them.
That was really nice. That was Linda Tully, and she hit right through Kimmery.
They're hitting a little more quickly and coming through a little bit more, aren't they not?
They are too. They are doing that, and also they're starting to use some other hitters.
You can't depend on one player.
Nice serve. Going to cause them to return a free ball. A nice deep free ball.
Jerry Dvorak.
Beautiful. If it's possible and Dvorak is in the area, she'll get her hand on the ball and put it down.
The team leader, and she is also on a number of outstanding open teams as well.
It's a high pass. Sometimes these are hard for the setters to handle. Nice block by Dvorak. Good save.
Kimmery's been there whenever needed. Double block.
Double block on Dvorak in the middle.
Excellent save.
Super save. The ball's coming back to Stroyan.
Another pickup.
Blocker. They passed it back into the net.
Outstanding
nice
point.
Exchange.
Kimmery. I
yes.
think that would have been out.
That was really nice. I'm sure that IC thought the ball was going back out to Stroyan on the outside, and it went to Kimmery in the middle, and I think they really kind of caught them all off guard.
We got the set by Donahue. We're going to see the spike by Dvorak and the double block.
Double block in the middle. That's the second time that Mendota has done that, double block in the middle. Now it looks like they're starting to double block on the outside almost consistently.
Delgade to serve. Immaculate Conception's down 5-7. Served by Delgade. Pick up. We get a free ball.
No,
he
just
didn't.
stood down on the floor and hit the ball. That was good.
Through the double block.
Nice hit. on the part of Maureen Dunn, hit on the outside, and she just really went right through the block.
Again, we're seeing a better complement of hitters being used by both teams.
Yes, we are. And I think they really had to do that to open the game up because the two big hitters were starting to negate one another.
And that was a tough situation. Neither hitter was sure which side it was going to be on. They decided to go up and block. We got a timeout from Mendota with the score 7-7. Immaculate Conception serving, and again the momentum switching back a little bit to Immaculate Conception. It's been a volleyball in the sense of momentum as well as the ball itself going over the net.
Really, it has. It's switched back and forth, and I think probably more quickly on fewer amounts of points here in the second game than it did in the first game. Seemed to run in much longer streaks. You know, I'd like to comment on the last play that we saw on the court before the timeout. The ball was dug into the backcourt and Storian was at the net. It's a really hard position for her to know what to do with the ball because the ball was dropping down between her body and the net. She really didn't have time to hit it, and Dvorak was right there on the other side of the net. And it's hard when the ball comes in from in back of a front row player.
This is an excellent point by both teams.
Just seemed to kind of go on and on.
And all of it was
really
excellent play.
exciting. Hit by Dvorak,
Double block.
double block in the middle.
Save over there by Jackie Burketto.
Both teams made a lot of excellent defensive plays.
Hit by Stroyan.
Ball is over. Stroyan hits the ball down again, and it's played back.
As the ever-present Kimmery doing her standard thing.
Just super.
Kimmery had the chance. I believe that ball might have been out, but it's a situation.
I think the ball would have been out of bounds, but I think they were really surprised.
A delegate to serve. Immaculate Conception's come back with 2 straight points. Kimmery on the hit. Oh,
it's a beautiful set on the part of Stroyan to the outside, and Kimmery hit right into the block.
interesting that the first game consisted of only single blocks, and both teams now came back out of the huddle as we've been talking about, and both are using double blocks.
That's right. It's obviously something that they've done before, because you don't just throw up a double block for the heck of it if you haven't done it.
Oh, what a serve. Delgade 9-7 Immaculate Conception. Right now, Mendota has got to come back. They lost the first game, and they need to come back in this one.
They've got to really get in there past this next ball. Pass isn't particularly good. A little bit of confusion.
Are they playing a little tentatively?
Yes, they are. Oh,
that spike was out by Maureen Dunn, so we'll get a side out.
It's really lucky because we had a double block forming in the middle, and they just never really got there.
Julie Cumry to serve. Pick up by Delgate, set by Donahue.
Pass.
Oh,
Jerry Dvorak again. Cross-court spike into the deep part of the backcourt, and she's been very successful with that time and time again.
There's not really a whole lot you can do defensively for that specific hit, is there, on that deep corner?
You have to have tremendous movement from the middle back digger back there. There's Dvorak on Storian again. I think if you look at the Mendota players right now, I think they're all starting to be a little bit tentative, the score being 10-7.
Got the serve. Oh, excellent serve by Mary Donahue.
Ball really low and close to the net. It was real difficult for Mendota to handle that ball.
Should mention she also has tape on her finger. She has a torn tendon in that finger that doesn't require surgery, but she has to have it taped.
Again, I see Mendota being very tentative. They're not coming in on their sets as quickly as they should be and as they were.
Big hit by Stroyan, but it was deep and out. And it'll be point to Immaculate Conception. We're going to get a timeout here to Mendota. Immaculate Conception has the lead 12-7. They won the first game 15-12. Excellent momentum, went back and forth. Now they've established it in the second game. The bridesmaids last year, runners-up. Mendota has finished fourth. Has never been in this championship game. And they're playing, giving an excellent account of themselves, but right now they need to come back out of this timeout. What's she telling them?
They really do. I think maybe she's telling them kind of what we talked with her about last night. Just be patient. Don't try to put the ball down right away. They've got to stay with them. They've got to play with them, and they've got to wait, and they've got to look for the openings. And she's also got to be telling them, hit out at the ball. Don't be tentative, because I think we're starting to see all the players drop back off the net a little bit. They're kind of afraid to come back in and be really strong on the ball, maybe afraid they're going to make an error. And what they really have to do is just be strong, keep the ball in play, same kinds of things that they did to turn the game around before.
We'll have to play right before the timeout.
And here we have, you see, just really almost the players walking into the net. No one's sure who's going to take the ball, and that causes a lot of errors.
Is that a problem with positioning, or is that a problem with no communication at that point?
It's really a problem with communication. It's part of what happens when your team goes flat and loses some momentum. Again, Stroyan finally decided on that point to come in on the ball, and the ball was behind her head.
Okay, Donahue to serve. She served 3 straight points.
Nice serve.
She likes to pick on that right in front of the center back.
Yeah, she really does.
Good pickup by Parks. Here's Stroyan. This big hit here.
Oh, that was nice. It was a change of pace. I don't know whether it was on purpose or not, and I'd like to think that it was. And then she took the ball over to the right side of the block, and Dvorak just wasn't there. Oh, beautiful serve. Oh, yes. She went right through the middle of the court. That's a hard place to pass. Your middle person thinks she's supposed to take the ball. She didn't know, and right down at the shoestrings with backcourt player.
Stroyan takes charge no matter where she's at.
That's a nice pass. Whoops, we had a missed pass off the net and free ball. Stroyan set.
Oh, nice pickup by Linda Tully.
That was a good hit from Joanne Parks.
Another No, we're okay now. Sean on the hit. Dvorak picks it up. Donahue to set for Dvorak. Oh, pick it out. Yes!
Oh, yes, what a save.
Oh.
Stroyan picked the ball out of the net. That was a beautiful play. Oh,
reacting very well to what's
really a beautiful rally going on out there.
We're going to get we're going to get a replay on a held ball, I believe, or a double line violation. It was considered a net foul on that double.
Here's a replay on Stroyan's pull of the ball out of the net. That was really beautiful, and you don't see that happen a lot.
Another beautiful
in the
serve.
net, and she went down and pulled the ball up enough for Sean to put the ball back over the net.
While you were watching that replay, Stroyan served, and the serve reception was out of bounds, and another point to Mendota. They're coming back quickly. They're only down by 3 now, 9-12. Good set, the dink, but the dink is out of bounds.
Okay, it's a dink by Dvorak, and she just tried to push the ball, and she pushed it right out of bounds, trying to go down the line with it.
Reminiscent of Stroyan on game point in game 1.
Right.
Oh!
You could kind of see the elbow snap on that. The official called a double hit on the serve reception. And now behind the serving, they're coming back again.
Again, we see the timeout being efficient and helpful as we came through. Mendota called the timeout. Immediately they garnered 3 points when they came back. The coaches have both used their timeouts very, very well. Mendota's come back from 12-7. It's now 12-11. Stroyan serving, and I think that in itself is a key.
Stroyan's got a beautiful serve. She just really comes through with a lot of power on the ball and caused the right back player again to have an illegal hit on the ball. And I'd have to say that Stroyan also has picked on the right back player probably for about the last 3 points, and it has really brought her team back on the momentum that they've gained from what Mendota hasn't been able to generate.
So you'd expect her to go right back to that position and see whether or not she can recover after the timeout.
That's right. Sorry, not Mendota, but what IC hasn't been able to generate from that.
And there we see Linda Tully. Linda Tully, by the way, is a very versatile athlete. She's not only a volleyball player, but she's also the 2-time state 800-meter champion here in Class A.
Oh, is that outstanding?
A beautiful runner.
It's really nice, Ann, and I think that high school being a time of exploration of a lot of different things, it's really nice to see athletes be able to do more than just one sport. Volleyball is really important, but it's certainly not the only thing.
We'll see if Immaculate Conception can turn things around and get the serve back from Mendota, who has definitely strung a few together here.
A nice pass. Ball to Dvorak on the outside. For Mendota, we had 3 backcourt defenders just standing there, and they watched that ball go down.
A little nervousness there. They need the point back. Dvorak, now she's in the back row. That could have a definite effect in favor of Mendota.
It could. That was a nice pass. A missed pass ball off the net. We're going to get another free ball. I think both teams are playing very, very tight right now.
They're a little tentative as whether or not who's going to hit. Good pickup.
Good pickup. Good block.
Oh, what a play by Stroyan there. Saw the open area, but able to cover by Conception.
There's a nice dig.
Now that's something that you don't see too often. How tough is it to make an illegal hit? That was called an illegal hit, and it's a very difficult situation.
It's definitely a judgment call on the part of the official, and they certainly have a better bird's eye view of it than we do.
Oh.
Too bad. Again, Mendota being over anxious, they came in on the ball, and Joanne Parks was right up there, and she knew when she hit the ball that she shouldn't be doing that. The ball should have been passed.
This is possible match point with Dvorak serving. Good pick up. A little confusion here.
Not a time to be tentative. Parks comes into the net. Good hit.
Oh!
I think
that's game point. Second game of the match, and one of your network sponsors is Country Companies Insurance. Your Class A State Championship girls volleyball team for 1981 is Immaculate Conception. Now here's Julie Boltz with the awards assembly presentation. There we see Immaculate Conception being congratulated by Coach Dean Fields. A very happy group of young ladies.
We invite you to direct your attention to the east end of Prairie Capital Convention Center for the award ceremony for first and second place in this year's Class AA Girls State Volleyball Tournament. Presiding for the presentation of awards on behalf of the Illinois High School Association is Dr. Joseph Sergio, Principal of Steinmetz High School in Chicago and President of the IHSA Board of Directors. Assisting Dr. Sergio will be other members of the board and administrative staff. Dr. Sergio, if you please.
Thank you, and good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we wish to compliment and congratulate these winning teams here and compliment all 8 teams that have participated in this Class A volleyball tournament this year. We compliment the teams, their coaches, their principals, their schools, and especially you fans who turned out and supported your teams and conducted yourselves in such a fine way. We'd like to make the presentation to the second place team, and to do the awards will be Miss Ola Bundy, who is an Assistant Executive Secretary of the Illinois High School Association, and she'll present the trophy and awards to the second place team.
Assisting me in the presentation of the second place awards will be Mr. Wayne Mendenhall, Coordinator of Athletics and one of our managers for the tournament this year. It's a pleasure to present the runner-up trophy for the 1981, the awards first, to the Mendota Spikers. For their runner-up achievement in the 1981 Class A Girls Volleyball Tournament. Will Coach Renee Gunther please come forward? Renee, would you please call the names of your girls for them to receive their medallions?
Sophomore Barb Stefanich. Junior Dennett Swanson. Sophomore Kim Skirston. Sophomore Jill Inman. Senior Sylvia Holbrook. Junior Peg Chisholm. Senior Captain Joanne Parks. Junior Cindy Shawn. Senior Mary Lauer. Junior Mary Kimmery, Senior Rose Norton, and Senior Tracy Stroyan.
Would the captains of the Mendota Spikers please come forward? On behalf of the girls volleyball playing schools, I'm proud to present to you the runner-up trophy, Class A, 1981.
Assisting me in making presentations to the state champions of Class A for 1981 will be Mrs. Sherry Coomer of Springfield Lamphere High School. Mrs. Coomer is responsible for managing this tournament and setting up such a wonderful organization to conduct a smooth tournament such as we had these last 3 days. I'd like us all to give her a great big hand for her fine job. I'd like to call the coach, Gene Field of Elmhurst. Gene, you are responsible, I'm sure in a large measure, for your team compiling a great record of 38 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie this year. We congratulate you and compliment you on a fine job. Well done. I will call the names of your players as I award them their medallions.
Senior Captain Jerry Dvorak. Junior Co-Captain Jackie Burketto. Senior Dawn Kessling. Senior Linda Tully. Senior Maureen Dunn. Junior Lisa Delgade. Junior Margaret Pusick. Sophomore Debbie McElroy. Sophomore Mary Donahue. Sophomore Donna Calignan. Sophomore Katie Loftman.
Miss Fields, may we have your captain or captains up here? Girls, this trophy says state champions, and you are that. Congratulations to you.
We'll be back with interviews of both the winning and losing coaches right after this message from DeKalb Ag Research. It's a tremendous match here at the Prairie Capital Center. Immaculate Conception won 2 games in a row, 15-12, 15-11, against a tremendous team from Mendota, the Spikers. And with me is Bonnie Beach, my color commentator, and right next to me is Renee Gunther, the outstanding coach of the Mendota Spikers. Renee, you've been down here 4 times, and you've placed 4th in this tournament. It's the first time in the title match. And I know it was a disappointment to you, but it was a tremendous match, and I'm sure you're very proud of the girls.
I am. I think their effort out here today was superb. I don't feel we came up against a good team. We had expected Immaculate Conception to be tough. We played them last year, and they beat us in the semifinals, and we knew we would have a tough game tonight. It was a head-on match, and I'm just very proud of second place.
It's an outstanding achievement. Had you ever played Immaculate Conception before?
No, we haven't. Just last year in the tournament. That was the first time we played them, and we knew that they were a very strong team. They've been rated all year as number one, and we knew our work would be cut out for us today.
I think you surprised a lot of people. You're rated 7th through the season, but you definitely showed as the number 2 team here today. Bonnie, you've noticed a lot of things about the strategy that occurred during this game, and I know that you'd like to talk to Renee about some of that.
I think, Renee, one of the things that I'd like to ask you is last night we were talking after the match, and you were talking about many of the matches that you'd played all season long were very quick because you have a very dominant serving game. You'd been able to put other teams away with serves. Do you think that that had any effect on perhaps the length of points or the patience with which your players needed to play?
Well, this was something that I did talk over with my players. Some of our matches this year lasted like 10 minutes, and they got used to falling into this pattern of a 10-minute game. And I tried to tell them that, in state competition like this, you're going to come up against teams that you're going to have patience with and play the game all the time. And I think maybe resting on our serving was just not enough. We had to go a little deeper.
How does your team receive strategy changes as you call a timeout? I know some teams handle that very well, and I think that's definitely a mark of composure.
They handle it very well. In fact, last night when we talked about changing to a double block tonight, they were very, open to it. Didn't seem to think it would be any problem at all doing it. And basically, when they're out there, if they come up with ideas, I'm very open to them too because they know what's going on out there. And that happened last night in the Freeburg game. They noticed a weakness. We were giving them a little bit too much cross courts on their spikes, and we pulled up and covered for that in the third game. That paid off.
That's nice. Renee, I think very often all the action happens with the players out on the court, and sometimes I really feel that coaches need a little bit of credit too. I would just like to compliment you and say you did an outstanding job of coaching your team, and the strategy changes were very evident when you came back out in the court. And it occurred to Ann and I as we were watching that both coaches called timeouts very, very wisely, and most of the time when you put your team back on the court, they got the ball. Were you aware of that?
Well, I think volleyball is such a game of momentum, and I try to call timeouts when I think my players need to maybe relax a little more, and hoping that I'll break a little bit of their momentum. And of course, strategy in calling timeout is very crucial, and I hope I called them at the right times. I think I did. They seemed to calm down a little bit.
Very nice job of coaching.
Thank you very much.
Renee, you have a couple of players kind of waiting in the wings over here. Perhaps if I brought them in, would you introduce them and let us meet them?
I'm going to bring in 2 seniors who have played their last volleyball match for Mendota and have quite a history. I'm going to bring in both Tracy Stroyan, who everyone I'm sure is synonymous with Mendota volleyball, and also Joanne Parks, who was the hitter that came alive here in that second match. Would you like to tell me which is which here?
To my left is Tracy Stroyan, and she is a senior. We're going to lose her this year, sadly, and we're also going to lose our captain, Joanne Parks.
As captain, do you have any special duties that you have to do as far as communication on the court, Joanne?
I just feel that I have to keep the team up, don't let nobody get down, and keep everybody going as much as I can.
You do a really nice job of that. And against the Freeburg in the semifinals, you had some down moments, and you really came thundering back, communication and talking on the court. Tracy, everyone's talking about the power that you have and your ability to get back up on the blocks.
I just try to block as hard as I can and hit. Just try to put the ball down.
You do it very well, Bonnie.
Very well. Were you aware of the fact that there was such a tremendous matchup between you and Jerry Dvorak during the first game? Were you aware of the fact that it was happening consistently?
Yeah, when we were watching Immaculate Conception play some of their semifinals and stuff, I saw she was a real good player, and I figured if we got into the game in the championship that I'd have to go up against her, and I knew it was going to be a matchup between us, and I just tried my best to keep running control.
Made for a very exciting matchup. There were some very exciting points. Joanne, I think in the second game, it opened up much wider. I think the first game was pretty much dominated the net between Tracy and Jerry, but I think in the second game, everybody on both your team and IC got a chance to hit the ball. Does that make your team run a little bit better, or is it easier for them to just really play a very tough support role?
Oh, I think it's good that once we all get good hits, like everybody on our team can hit really good. It's good when Tracy hits. It gets the team going when she really gets a couple good kills in there. And then once that happens, it gets everybody else psyched, so then everybody else can hit a lot better.
I think that's a really good comment, and I think definitely that's the way that it went. We were talking with your coach about the fact that in the second game you switched to a double block. And how did that work for you as players? From a spectator standpoint, your double block worked beautifully, and how did you feel about doing that?
Well, I think it worked pretty good some of the time, but we had a little bit of problem with the ball coming off the block, and people weren't right in their position where they were supposed to be, and the block was coming off into some of the holes, and that's where I think we ran into some problems.
Have you used a double block very much during the season?
We started off at the beginning of our season with the double block, and towards the middle we decided to go with a one-man block because it seemed to work more effective.
Well, your double block, it was very obvious it worked very effectively for you. We'd like to thank you all very much, and it was really a very exciting match that you afforded the fans. We're sorry that it didn't go 3 games, and I know that you are too. And I think that I was talking with both of you girls before we came on camera, and it's difficult because you have just lost the match, but number 2 is a beautiful position to be in. As we said before, there are 300 and 400 schools who are not number 1 or number 2, and you've done a beautiful job in representing your school and in playing and really in upgrading the caliber of volleyball. Thank you very much. It was really super. I'd like to congratulate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ann, would you like to ask Renee anything else?
I think she said it all and done it all here. And Renee Gunther brought your team down here 4 times. You've now finished second, and I can see great things for you continue in the future in that Mendota volleyball team. Congratulations to both you and all of your team and both of you ladies, and I wish you luck in your future. Thank you very much. Well, for every second place team, there's also a championship team, and Jean Fields at Immaculate Conception has won. And for the last 2 years, she's been unfortunate or fortunate enough to be the bridesmaid against Quincy Notre Dame. And last year and this year, she came back to that championship match and was victorious and with an outstanding team after losing 5 starters. Here's Jean Field.
Hi. What am I supposed to do?
You lost 5 starters.
Right.
You had Dvorak was the only person back, and
Yeah.
everyone expected you to be in a rebuilding year, and you came back and won the state championship.
I know, isn't it great? Linda Tully played for us in front row last year. She's really come on for us in the back row, and we didn't know exactly how things were going to go. We knew Jerry was a super ball player, and a lot of it would have to go on her shoulders, so we kind of ran our offense around Jerry. And we knew that we had a lot of talent, and we just didn't know how well they were going to mesh together. And they've been super. They really. That's why we scheduled so many games this year. Normally we come in the state tournament 19-5. This is the first time we've come in with over 30. And we figured that the kids have got to have the game experience to playing well together because they've never played together before. And that was the only way we'd be ready for the state tournament. So we got them together, and they just really do well on the court. They seem to really mesh well together, I think.
I've seen them at both the invitational tournament in my school and down here 3 times, and they're a very calm, very composed team. What do you attribute that?
They're like that all year. I have the assistant basketball coach was watching practice one day. I said, "Watch this practice," and she's sitting there. She said, "They don't say anything." And I said, "That's the thing. They're really quiet." And before we played Quincy Notre Dame down in the Chicago Latin tournament for the championship, I was telling them, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and they're just sitting there real quiet. They're unnerving that they're so calm, and they don't get rattled. They seem to handle the pressure really well. And people say, well, do they feel the pressure from being ranked number 1 all year? And they haven't. They just doesn't seem they're ranked number 1. That's nice, but it's no big deal.
Doesn't really mean anything until you do something about it
right.
anyway.
That's what they figure. So that's
I know Bonnie and I were talking throughout the game about the change momentum, and every time Mendota seemed to take it from you, he took it right back with a tremendous hit or a service placement or something of that nature. Was that, on purpose on your part, or was it something that just came as the game progressed?
It just seems to come, yeah. The kids seem to really, when they're down, they really pull together well, and it's, when we were down in the Tolono game, we were down 10-1, and something clicks and they just go,
That intangible something that
yeah,
really
you don't
makes
know
the
what
difference.
It is. And it's all great teams have it, and I don't know what it is. You know, if you could figure that out, you'd
Have
make
many
a
more
fortune.
great teams.
Yeah.
I like the way the coach already decided it's a great team. That's terrific.
Yeah.
That Tolono Unity game, we've got to give credit to that team.
Oh, they
It may
were
have been the best
super.
actual match of the tournament. And
Oh,
you
I
were
thought-
down, what, 10-1 and
Yeah.
came back in the first game?
Yeah, we won at 16-14. In the Tolono match, that was one of those matches that you play and you're really sorry that either team has to lose because both teams played a great match. You know, it's just fantastic. The passing, the rallies were long, the defense was fantastic, the hitting was good. It seemed like if you weren't a coach, it would be a good spectator match.
I mean, you don't like to watch those things sitting on the bench?
No, you have a heart attack.
You know, one surprise that we did not expect was to see Mary Donahue in the lineup. Now, we
Yeah.
understood she was sick.
Yeah, she didn't get released from the hospital until this morning. We brought her in Thursday night. She played the whole Tolono game with an appendicitis. We thought it was food poisoning. And we brought the rest of the team out to eat. We came back, and her stomach hadn't gotten any better, and we called the emergency room. She had started to run a slight temperature after the dinner. And they said, yeah, bring her in, and they did some blood count and stuff, and it was high, and they looked at the appendix, and they said, yeah, this is really rough. We might have to take it out tonight. They called in the surgeon. He said, well, if it's my daughter, I'd wait 6 hours. So thank God
That was
they
enough to
waited
get a
the
volleyball
6
match in.
hours. And it cooled down. The next morning, everything was normal, and they tried to get food in her stomach, and everything was going great, and they said, yeah, she could play. So we were ecstatic.
Jean, I'd like to ask you if you were aware of the fact that there was going to be a matchup between Jerry Dvorak and Tracy Stroyan.
We figured that would probably, yeah. And Jerry's played against a lot of big hitters up in the Chicago area. We played against the two big girls from Glenbard West and Kemner from Quincy Notre Dame. And we've played big kids before, kids that are 6 feet and 5'10" and hit the ball real well. Tracy's a fantastic athlete, and I thought they played really a good head-on-head game between the two of them.
They played beautifully.
They did. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you have two of your players over here. If I bring them over, would you introduce them for us?
Yes, I'd be delighted.
Thank you.
Also, we'd like to mention, now, Jean, you play almost 38 games. 17 of them are against the AA teams. Does it have any effect with bringing these girls into AA play so that when they come in, is there that much of a difference, and does it help them?
I don't know that there's that. There is a difference. The AA seem to have some bigger players, and it helps them. They play a little quicker offense sometimes than the A's does, so I think it helps in the long run. This is Linda Tully, a senior, and Jerry Dvorak, also a senior.
They look a little weighted down with some gold, and they look terrific in it.
I think so.
Ladies, how you feel about this? You know, you came down here and they were twice, you know, the bridesmaid. Now you've won the state championship. Exactly how are your feelings at this point?
Fantastic. Great.
It's the best.
You were probably the one that was figured to match up against Stroyan, and it did occur. Now, it was interesting to us that the way Mendota had the rotation, that Stroyan was in the back row to start out with. Was that any advantage to you to get the first hitting opportunities?
I think so. I didn't mind it. I mean, just go take it. I didn't mind it. I thought it was good for me.
Does it make any difference having Donahue back to set for you?
Yeah. Although Debbie McElroy, she did fantastic, you know, to fill in and everything. She just came right up and did the job. But we were used to Mary more, and it was nice to have her back feeling good and everything.
Now, McElroy had been also in at the districts because Donahue was injured with a finger. Is that correct?
That's right. And she played in your tournament, the Buffalo Grove tournament. Right. We kind of put her in and said, Mary, we're running 5-1. This is what you got to do. Or, Debbie, this is what you got to do. And after the first couple times of crashing into people, we finally got it straightened out. But she's a sophomore, so we have two nice sophomore setters down there, so all we have to do is find 4 hitters.
Must be nice to just go down your bench and pick one up whenever you want. It's like going shopping. Linda Tully, your coach has told me that she thinks you're the most improved player on the team. What do you think about that?
Well, this year I got a chance to play more. Last 2 years I really didn't play, so this year I wanted to play, so I was trying my hardest.
What'd you do exactly to improve that ability so that you could come in and be a starter?
I just worked harder and everything. In practice, used to goof around a lot, but it just changed.
Oh, how the stories come out, Bonnie.
Boy, have they ever. It's a show and tell on television, right. Jerry, you got to hit an awful lot in the first game. In fact, probably you and Tracy were really the dominant players at the net. And in the second game, things really started to open up for you. Linda, you got to hit a whole lot more and block a whole lot more in the second game. Which do you think works better for your team?
I think it's good that we get to the ball to Jerry whenever we can, but it's good to get our other hitters warmed up too, like Lisa Delgate and Maureen Dunn can put it down if we need them.
You're not bad yourself. I'd like to thank you very, very much, and again, congratulations to all of you on winning the Class A championship. Beautiful job.
Thank you.
Annie, what do you think?
Volleyball is getting so tough here in Illinois. In Class A, we've got a new state champion, and they couldn't be prouder. They came back here last year with second. They're going away state champions, and they definitely deserve it.
Nice job. Good job on everybody's part.
Your Class A state champions are Immaculate Conception of Elmhurst. They won the game 2 games straight, 15-12 and 15-11. And we're going to be looking forward to seeing you all here again next year in Springfield.
You've been watching another Illinois High School Association championship event. Your network hosts have been the Stauffer Chemical Company, DeKalb Ag Research, and the more than 750 local DeKalb dealers supplying Illinois farmers with quality hybrid seed, and Country Companies Insurance and the nearly 1,000 Country Companies agents in the state of Illinois.